Chapter 5. Salvation for a Demon. In the centre of a once great city, there stood a magnificent cathedral that was cared for by a kindly old priest who spent his days praying in the vestry and caring for the poor. As a result of the priest's tireless work, the cathedral was known throughout the land as a true sanctuary. The priest welcomed all who came to his door and gave completely without prejudice or restraint. Each stranger was, to the priest, a neighbour in need, and thus the incoming of Christ. His hospitality was famous and his heart was known to be pure. No one could steal from this old man, for he considered no possession his own. And while thieves sometimes left that place with items pillaged from the sanctuary, the priest never grew concerned. He had given everything to God and knew that these people needed such items more than the church did. Early one evening, in the middle of winter, while the priest was praying before the cross, there was a loud and ominous knock on the cathedral door. The priest quickly got to his feet and went to the entrance, as he knew that it was a terrible night and reasoned that his visitor might be in need of shelter. Upon opening the door, he was surprised to find a terrifying demon towering over him with large dead eyes and rotting flesh. "Old man," the demon hissed, "I have travelled many miles to seek your shelter. Will you welcome me in?" Without hesitation, the priest bid this hideous demon welcome and beckoned him into the church. The evil demon stooped down and stepped across the threshold, spitting venom onto the tiled floor as he went. In full view of the priest, the demon proceeded to tear down the various icons that adorned the walls and rip the fine linens that hung around the sanctuary, while screaming blasphemy and curses. During this time, the priest knelt silently on the floor and continued in his devotions until it was time for him to retire for the night. "Old man," cried the demon, "where are you going now?" "Why, I'm returning home to rest. It's been a long day," replied the kindly priest. "May I come back with you?" spat the demon. "I am too tired and in need of a place to lay my head." "Why, of course," replied the priest. "Come and I'll prepare a meal." On returning to his house, the priest prepared some food, while the evil demon mocked the priest and broke the various religious artifacts that adorned his humble dwelling. The demon then ate the meal that was provided, and afterward turned his attention to the priest. "Old man, you welcomed me first into your church and then into your home. I have one more request for you. Will you now welcome me into your heart?" "Why, of course," said the priest. "What I have is yours, and what I am is yours." This heartfelt response brought the demon to a standstill, for by giving everything, the priest had retained the very thing that the demon sought to take. For the demon was unable to rob him of his kindness and his hospitality, his love and his compassion. And so the great demon left in defeat, never to return. What happened to that demon after this meeting with the elderly priest is anyone's guess. Some say that although he left that place empty-handed, he received more than he could ever have imagined. And the priest? He simply ascended the stairs, got into bed and drifted off to sleep, all the while wondering what guise his Christ would take next. Commentary. The first thing to note about this story is that it expresses an impossible hospitality. a hospitality that flings open its doors to anyone, without condition. In contrast to this, our own hospitality is conditional and is generally extended only to those we like, or to those who will abide by certain rules of etiquette. Our hospitality is often little more than a self-interested exchange, whereby we invite some people to our house for our own pleasure. There are conditions to our hospitality, conditions that include politeness, respect, and a nice bottle of wine. While there's nothing wrong with such a situation, the radical, impossible hospitality spoken of by Christ is one that goes infinitely further than this. It is a hospitality that opens the doors to those who are not part of our friendship circle, those who are not likely to bring us gifts or respect our sensibilities. This view of hospitality resonates with Jesus' view of love, a love that asks us to do more than simply embrace those who love us, something that even the most heartless criminals do. It asks us to embrace those who are indifferent to us or who even despise us. This is wonderfully expressed in Jesus' description of a wedding feast in which the doors of the party are open to passers-by, to anyone who would want to come. This radical hospitality manifests itself in an unconditional gift rather than as a conditional exchange. Here the outsiders are welcomed in. The excluded are the ones who are included. This type of hospitality will strike us as utterly impossible and even offensive for a variety of reasons. Perhaps because we selfishly want to protect our new carpets, or maybe because we selflessly need to protect our family. However, it is precisely the impossible nature of divine hospitality that we must bear in mind when we encounter others. For it helps to remind us that we can never pat ourselves on the back and claim that we have been truly hospitable, that we have somehow reflected the radical nature of Christ in our actions. This impossible vision of divine hospitality can also inspire us to act in a more generous and gracious manner than we might otherwise be inclined toward. Remembering that God has opened the doors to us and that we should endeavour to do the same. To welcome the demon, in whatever form the demon takes, is all but impossible. But through our trying to show hospitality to the demon at our door, the demon may well be transformed by the grace that is given. Or we may come to realize that it was not really a demon at all, but just a broken, damaged person like ourselves.